Hi everybody. I just wanted to ruminate on a couple things that happened to me the other day. And the first and foremost one is the whole idea of the way that numbers now rule the wine world. I don't normally take phone calls, as you know, I'm mainly on the floor, but we were busy and I picked up the phone and this gentleman was looking for a particular wine from northern Italy that had received a very high score, in this case 95 points. I knew the wine and knew it had merit. I did not have that particular wine in stock, but I did recommend another wine that had 93 points. And what happened brought me to this moment. So he said no, he wasn't interested. It had to be a 95-point wine. And I thought about that. I said, what does that mean? So a 2-point difference negates the purchase of a very good wine from a very good producer from a very good vintage at a very good price. And so I thought more about this and I realized, where did this stem from? How does this happen? And how can we as consumers and of course as vendors resolve this? So what happened, as you know, many years ago, and I think it was a way, in a sense, to really help the consumer. And I think initially, the initial input, initial intention was justified, had merit, but it became abused, and it became misused, and it became, in a sense, a doctrine. And anytime you get into a doctrine, you get yourself into trouble. So I've been slowly but surely pulling back from using numbers in my discourse and also with my consumers on the floor. Most of my guys were okay with that, but some were very adamant about it. In fact, my favorite moment was someone asked me, well, what score would I give it? And I was really in a quandary, because here I am trying to get away from numbers, but yet I had to appease them and say, well, if I had to give it a number, I would give it a 10. And he, well, what do you mean by 10? Well, out of a scale of 1 to 10. He said, well, don't you use 100? I said, no, the 100-point system doesn't work because it's not a 100-point system. It's really a 10-point system because nobody talks about a wine below 89. And even 89 is considered, oh, not good enough. So it's really a 10-point system, so why not just give it a 10? And he didn't quite buy the argument. And I can understand that. Obviously, we're used to a certain pattern. So the problem now becomes, how do we break this vicious cycle? As you know, now winemakers are beginning to make wines to get the higher score, to get the better points, to get the better market share. And so we're now finding people making cuvées to get the number, not to make a wine, but to make a number. So again, I'm finding ways around this by talking to vendors and talking to winemakers. And I'm seeing now a backlash. I think a lot of people are beginning to realize, and particularly with the nature of one of the principal proponents of this, as he pulls back from reviewing more and more, I think more and more people are beginning to make wines not for review, but for their sense of propriety and self-worth. Finally, I would like to just kind of put together the notion that if we can get rid of this numerical tyranny and really break free and really look at wines and look at numbers that matter, like alcohol, pH, TA, price. These are the numbers that matter when it comes to wine.